Hello students, today we are going to learn the new lesson in English subject. Standard 4th, subject English, lesson number 17, Know Formalities, please, Part 2. In the previous lesson, we saw that the students of class 4 wrote a letter to their principal asking permission to take the library books home. Let's see what happens in this lesson. Mrs. Desai met the principal soon after class. She told her about the excitement that followed the announcement of new books in the library. They just cannot wait to read all those lovely books. She beamed. The principal was also delighted and praised her. The credit goes to you, Mrs. Desai. You have created and aroused their interest in reading books. It is going to help them a great deal in future. Here, Mrs. Desai, after the class was over, meets the principal and she tells the principal about the excitement in the class when she announced about the arrival of new books in the library, and she told the principal that they are very eager to read all the books. She beamed. She beamed means she smiled happily, and the principal was also delighted. She was also happy and praised the teacher and says, "The credit goes to you, Mrs. Desai, because you have created interest and increase in their interest in reading books. And these habits of reading books is going to help them in their future." Here in this paragraph, meanings beamed, smiled with pleasure, credit, praise or honor, aroused, made somebody have a particular feeling or attitude. In next paragraph, "Yes, madam," said Mrs. Desai, "but they find the weekly library period too short a time to read. So my students are going to appeal to you to allow home issue of books. They have written to you a letter of request." Here, Mrs. Desai is telling the principal, yes, they find the weekly library period very short, a time which is very less for them to finish their books. That means finish reading. And so she tells the principal that students are asking you permission to allow them take the library books home to read, and they have written a letter of request. Here the word appeal means to make a serious or formal request. Next para, a letter. Why? Asked the principal in surprise. I had to teach the class how to write polite formal letters, and I took this opportunity to make them actually write a formal letter, explained Mrs. Desai. Here, Mrs. Desai told the principal when she was surprised, a letter. Why? So, Mrs. Desai explained to her that she had to teach the children to write a polite formal letter, and she took this chance to make the children to write the formal letter, explained Mrs. Desai. Excellent, Mrs. Desai, exclaimed the principal, and I shall not dampen their interest in reading. I shall certainly allow them to take books home for reading. Here, the principal was very happy and she praised Mrs. Desai, and she said, "Excellent," and said, "I won't be reduce their interest in reading. Sure, I shall certainly allow them to take books home for reading." Here, meaning the word dampen, to make feelings, especially of excitement for enjoyment, less strong. Next para. The next morning, the principal found the letter on her desk. She signed the letter with the remark, "Permission granted," and sent it to the librarian. To encourage the children of class 4, further, the principal instructed the librarian to give a written reply to the students, and here is what he wrote. In this paragraph, we can see the next morning when the principal came to her office, she found a letter on her desk. She understood which was written by class 4th for asking permission to take the library book home. Principal immediately signed the letter and returned the remarks, "Permission granted," and this letter sent to the librarian and instructed him to give a written reply to the students. Library, Pragati Vidyalaya, Vachanpur, 7th July 2014. To the students of class 4th, dear children, I am delighted to know that you are so keen on reading the new books in our school library. The principal has been kind enough to grant to your class permission for home issue facility. I shall keep the library open for an hour after school on all weekdays. You can come and collect any one book of your choice and return it the following week. But I must urge you to read and observe the library rules displayed in the library. Do come and enjoy reading the books. Sincerely yours, Mr. Vijay Patil, Librarian. Here, meaning the word keen means interested or eager. Next word, observe, to obey a law, rule, etc. Next, urge, to strongly advise someone to do a particular thing. Let's see what librarian replied to students. It is a formal letter. In right corner is the sender's address. That means who? The librarian. Yes, here the sender is librarian. To the left side is the receiver's address. Who is receiving this letter, students? Yes, students of class 4th. And here goes the letter. Then the salutation. So, this was written by the librarian. Here, next para. "Hey, great news," cried the monitor. "Look, we have received a letter from the librarian, and guess what? We can take storybooks home to read." What, students, what you understood here? The monitor tells the children that there is a great news for us. What it is? Yes, letter from the librarian, we got it. And guess what it is? We can take storybooks home to read. Now, next para. "Wow!" exclaimed Shruti with bright round eyes. Yes, that means Shruti was so happy. Then, "Goodbye boredom, welcome happy hours," shouted Akshay. Yes, Akshay also shouted. The letter from the librarian was put up on the class notice board for all to read. Yes, now what librarian did? He put up the class notice of board, that letter, to everyone to read. Now next para. "When Mrs. Desai walked into the classroom, the students of class 4th burst out into many exclamations of thanks. Shall we write a letter of thanks to the librarian? Suggested Manuja. That is an excellent idea, said Mrs. Desai, smiling to herself at this new interest in formal letter writing. This is the letter of thanks the children wrote to the librarian. When Mrs. Desai came to the class, students of class 4th was excited and they were telling or expressing their thanks to their teacher. And now Manuja asked to the teacher, "Can we write a thanks letter to the librarian?" Mrs. Desai said, "Yes, it was an excellent idea." Yes, students, this is the letter of thanks the children wrote to the librarian. So, see here, first in the right corner side, the class 4th students, Pragati Vidyalaya, Vachanpur, 8th July 2014. And left side, who will receive this letter? Yes, sure, the librarian. To the librarian, Pragati Vidyalaya, Vachanpur. Now, what is the subject? An expression of thanks. Yes, dear sir, thank you ever so much for kindly making the home reading facility available to us. We are really grateful that you are going to wait back 1 hour after school just for us. We can now read books of our choice at a stretch. Thank you very much for your encouragement. We promise to abide by the library rules and handle the books with great care. Many thanks once again, yours faithfully, students of class 4th. Here, the meaning at a stretch means continuously. Abide by, to obey a decision or a rule. So, this was about second formal letter, continuing the first part. I hope this lesson is also clear to you. Thank you.